Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Transformation Tuesday, November 19th, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is a professional artist, and she hails all the way from the hills of Tennessee. And we're going to start this over again. Hopefully, it will work this time. IG is tripping because I wasn't able to see her, so I'm going to go ahead and share this live and see if it'll work this way. Okay, I'm gonna try to add Summer now because the screen should split and we should be able to see each other. I don't know what's going on. There we are.
We're here.
Hi, beautiful. Welcome to the
Hi.
show.
Thank you so much.
It is such a pleasure to have you here. So before we kick off 2024, I must say we're both women. I say that 2024 is the year of the woman. Do you manifest that? Do you go along with that? And how has your 2024 been for you so far?
Well, thank you so much for having me on here. I was just watching your Vanessa Williams interview, and that was really fun. And go girl power. I think it's really important to tap into the power of being a woman. I just finished the Tony Robbins seminar this weekend, and it was amazing. And there was a woman that got up and said, she's an immigrant. She says, I'm scared. My language isn't the greatest, but I'm also scared, that I don't get respect as much as a woman. And we're all like, I know, I hear you. Like, if I were a man, my career would have been, taken off, and maybe not so much harassment, and they would take me serious. And Tony, is so positive. He says, he's like, I get that, and that is real, and I honor that. And do you realize the power you have as a woman? That it far surpasses the power of men. When you tap and embrace that feminine energy and you step into your power, then that excuse, which is validated, but it wipes it out because it was overpowered by that power of being a woman. Like, we create worlds, we create humans, I haven't yet, but the power to be able to create and connect and be able to tune in and use our emotions and our femininity as power, not as a weakness. So that was really inspiring. Are you there? I've lost your face.
Oh my goodness, I'm trying to zoom out. It won't let me zoom out.
You just want to get in closer.
Well, you guys can see my lips.
We got the power of the female. Look at those lips. Okay, there you go. One at a time. A little bit more.
There we are. Yes. Now my cam cut off.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I just think that, it could be a negative, and I honestly have struggled with that because I've stepped out of many rooms because I was uncomfortable with, whatever situation I was in. And I was just like, these men have this power, and, these businessmen, and a lot of them abuse that power. And it made me angry. And to be honest, it actually turned me off from the industry, and I had to step away several times to rebalance myself and reclaim my power. And now that Tony said that, and then that's funny that you bring that up first thing, because I wasn't even thinking about it. But hey, it is the time of the women and female empowerment and individual empowerment. And so I'm excited for that, and to not use it as an excuse anymore, because we can take anything and use it as an excuse. Anything. We can take our heritage, like we can take our where we came from, or people that have passed away, and or the abuse that we've experienced, or our gender or our race or whatnot. But you always see people in any type of person that succeeds or fails. So we can take that as an excuse, or we can use it like a slingshot and use that power and let it make us soar. So,
and for you as an artist, because I'm pretty sure you've seen this interview, you know what interview I'm talking about. Madonna said she hates weak men. And I think we are in some men, these men that are in positions of power that are trying to seize power, are intimidated by our strength as women. And they don't like now that we're firing back, that we're saying, no, we're not going to put up with this. We're not going to put up with the disrespect. We're not going to put up with being mistreated. And Madonna said in that interview, this was back around her erotica era. If you guys know, you know. Yes, she said one thing that she hates is a weak man.
Mm.
And I think weak men, the ones who are in power, are intimidated by us as women and how powerful we are by standing up for ourselves and being in these positions. Like, how does she know that? Like, she shouldn't be here, but yes, we should be here. We should be here in these positions as well, too, just like you, just like any other man, just like any other person. So, do you see the shift for you as an artist in this industry, Summer, for women artists out here now that are coming out, owning their masters, owning, writing rights, all of these things? I see it on my side as a host of this platform that,
Yeah.
okay, my male counterparts are treated equally fairly, but I get mistreated in the case because of two things. I'm Black and I'm a woman. So,
So, and that can be your superpower. That, especially in today's climate, that now is a freaking superpower. I think that's amazing because it makes you unique and it makes you, it's like, wow, you can take all of that goddess energy and use it not as an excuse, but as a superpower. And I think that, yes, you're correct that weak men will bring down a woman or anyone for that matter because they want to feel they want to feel more powerful. They want to
it's a
feel bigger than
machismo
their
thing.
ego.
It's a
But
machismo thing.
yeah, exactly. But a strong man will lift up a strong woman and they won't feel threatened. And I really like being able to come together with our masculine and feminine energy because there was a
Yeah.
time when the men controlled the world. Then the time the feminists rose up and it got too strong. It's like the rise up of the women, but we don't want just women. We want a balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine coming together because we need men in this world. We need these beautiful men and all their qualities. Then I am not trying to pretend that I can do what they can do. Like I cannot lift as much weight as they can lift. There's certain things that they can do that I appreciate, and I'm not trying to do that. And there's certain things we can do that a good man will appreciate. And so I think when we combine that masculine and feminine energy on the outside, but also within the inside, you know because I have times I have to be very masculine when I go into a business meeting. I'm like, listen,
Hello.
you have to get into that feminine. But when I'm flirting with a guy, I step back into my feminine. And I literally, when I met this guy that I liked a couple of years ago, when we were flirting and we just had first met, he's this big strong guy, and when I'm in my power I can be really strong and intimidating, but I toned it down. And so when he went to ask for my number, I could see he kind of like he got a little nervous, and I said, well, I better go, and I stepped back instead of a masculine person be like, all right, let me get your information, let me get your
Right.
Instagram. And I do that in business. I'm like, okay, what's your contact details, let me get. No, I stepped back and said, well, I better go. And he stepped forward and he got my info. And it's just like dancing. When you're salsa dancing and you're, the woman, or who's playing the women part and the male part, the woman steps back and the man steps forward. So there is a time and place to have that feminine energy. You step back and you allow and you receive and you're open. And then there's a
Yes.
time where you step forward and you say, listen up, mother effers. I am here and I'm ready to roar. And it doesn't matter my sex or my skin color or my background or my trauma. I'm here. I'm ready to roar.
And I told Mick the same thing. Mick set this
Oh,
interview up.
right.
And I told her the same thing, and we were messaging, we were just having a conversation about something. I said, tap into your power, girl. You own this magazine. You
Right.
are, and I call her boss lady. I don't know if she told you or not, but I call her boss lady. So I said, tap into that power. Don't be afraid to put your foot down and let people know what exactly it is that you want. And as
Right.
women in this business, we have to not be afraid to speak up in certain
Yes.
situations as it
Yes.
pertains to business, as it pertains to being messed over. And so true what you were talking about it, girls. Yes, Mick knows. I told her when we had a conversation behind the scenes, I said something was bothering her and I could tell. And she messaged me. She felt comfortable talking to me and a few others in the magazine.
Yeah.
And I told her, tap into that boss lady energy. Tap into that energy. You sometimes have to lay the ground rules.
Right,
And
right.
what she has done with this publication is amazing. I told her it's like a gumbo because there's so many different people, so many different walks of life. Everybody has their own uh, section where they're writing. I do the fashion column, and then there's a few others that
Look
do
at
the
my shirt
fashion
says
column
fashion
along with it.
today. And I
Yes.
was just
Yes.
drawn to it. I didn't even look and I said, oh, this looks good. And I put it on and I said, ah, it says fashion. But yes, you
Hi,
got
Kendra. A big shout outs to Kendra Shanae, who is another artist. And I've had that conversation with Kendra not too long ago about being a woman in the industry and not allowing men to think that they can just say and do as they please in this day and age. And I've said
absolutely.
that 2024 is the year of the woman for a reason because we had a woman run for president in 80 countries. In over 80 countries, women are presidents, prime ministers, and vice presidents. The United
Yeah.
States has never had one. So women are in leadership positions, not
Women
just
are
in.
rising up, yeah, in all, and there's more women getting into the music business too. There was actually, women engineers and women producers and things like that. So, and again, balance. So all we're trying to do is balance because we're not saying that women need to take over and run the world. I mean, that's nice too. Who run the world, girls? But what we're saying is there's an imbalance, and it's been, especially in the music industry, it's what, like 85% or 90, some huge number, men. So we need more, 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 more women so we can actually, how about it's 50-50? I'm fine with that. I don't need it to be 80% women and 20% men. Let's just even the playing field, and bond together, work with more women, and then work with men who lift us up. So yeah, and it is funny because
Absolutely.
that Tony actually, one of his first talks on the first day was very. He spent an hour at least talking about the masculine and the feminine energy and being able to connect that internally and knowing the power of both, and that they both have a place and a time and place, and honoring that. So I think it's great that you brought that up.
Absolutely. And Kendra agrees. She seconds that. Yes, I
I
mean, we're now stepping up in positions to own our masters, to own your music, to own your masters, letting people know that hey, we're not just going to sit back on the fence. We're going to step up in these positions as well too and do what needs to be done. And I
exactly.
think it rattles the men because I said this when I did my girl talk with Kendra and the other and Clara when we did our girl talk just recently. I said that women are I said not too long ago to somebody, I can't remember, I think it was the girls, but I was telling them, I said, women, we're more organized. It's human nature. It comes to us instantly because we are willing to lead. We're willing to be a nurturer. We're willing to be a caregiver. Willing to make sure it's instinct, mothers.
Yeah.
So, you take in first instinct and you're ready to take control. You're ready to make sure that everything's organized and put in order. Whereas some men, unfortunately, sorry, fellas, it's the truth though. They're they're willing to not be organized. And we just have to
Hmm.
remind them, like, you forgot this over here. And we have to go back in and
Cer-
step back in that position and let them
certain
know.
details,
No,
yeah,
no,
certain details might go away at certain times. But it's funny you say that
right.
because I have a meeting after this with a guy that is so organized, and I'm actually going to learn from him. He's going to help me organize my database and my contacts and whatnot. So, they're different. I might be have a more masculine energy in certain aspects, and some guy might have a more feminine. So I can appreciate that and say, I'm going to learn from his organization to add to mine, and appreciate that, because obviously it's not a one size fits all. But then I'll have a music directors for a band, and they'll be like, okay, on the stage, and we're like, you could have given us 5 minute notice because we got to put our high heels on, we got to strap that down, we got to get our lipstick, we got. So sometimes the men don't think about those details because it doesn't apply to them. So I'm like, guys, if you're working with women, you got to think about some of the things that affect us more than you. Like if we're walking a mile, we can't walk as fast as you if we got 6 inch heels on. Like, so
No.
that's why. And I actually just 2 nights ago met a beautiful woman from Utah and an awesome man from Nashville, and we're talking about making a management team. And I am so excited and so lucky because I've got the feminine and the masculine as a management team, which is like a dream. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited because she's going to take over the details that are more the feminine energy and some creative direction and working out those details about, do you need to have a shoe change? Do you need to, what is, taking care of your health and certain, and the guy's going to be like, let's
Yes.
get the logistics done of this and that. So I'm excited for this new team and this new chapter. I've written a musical and I don't know if Mickey told you, but most composers and screenwriters in Broadway are men, and I
Yes.
think, and I just saw Suffs. Suffs is on Broadway, and it's the first woman that did the book and all the songs, the soundtrack, and it's all female cast. And so it's kind of cool. So I'm hoping next year we are out there, we're on stage, we're, getting it together, and to be a female composer in this industry. And yeah, kind of cool. We need both sides.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go back to what you said because you said something about women being more engineers. And I can think of a couple female artists who've broken the mold and said, okay, I want to start writing my music. And it was back in the 90s. I would say Beyonce is one. Beyonce has definitely made the mold for writing more music. Stevie Nicks is another one. Cindy
Aretha
Lauper.
Franklin, she said,
Yes.
wait, I think I'm a producer. And they're like, and the guy's like, no, if you saw the movie, the guy's like, no, 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 I'm a producer. And she goes, well, I'm the one that put the book on the piano that changed the vibe of it. I'm the one that did this and this and that. And this other person said, that's what producers do. And so she actually had to fight for herself in the movie, and in real life, obviously. And she said, I'm only going to do this album if I'm a co-producer on this album. Yeah. So
See.
they paved the way, like, take a
Yeah.
stand and step into these roles.
Absolutely, and it's more and more. I mean, Missy Elliott, as far as the mixing side, Missy Elliott was another one. Stevie Nicks, Cher, Madonna, all of the highest of the high, and as it pertains,
Yeah.
Celine Dion, I know for sure because we've seen her in the studio saying, "This is what I want from top to bottom." She's a consummate perfectionist. She
Right.
likes everything to be perfect, every single detail. Mariah Carey is another one. She's very articulate. She's like background vocals. You've seen Mariah in the studio, Summer, so I'm pretty she is she's very articulate about what she likes as it pertains to backing
And
vocals,
it's
as it
knowing,
pertains to everything.
yeah, and it's knowing what you like and knowing how to ask for it, and yeah, Janet Jackson, Chrissy
Oh yeah.
says, Rhythm Nation, when you
Oh
know what you like, because I've been in meetings where I had an idea, and actually the man shut me down, and he was definitely, like, he was French Italian male chauvinist, older generation man, so he didn't get the memo, and he shut me down, and I said, oh, I think the line we could say is a cancerous fear. And he goes, Summer, be quiet, let Griffith speak. And I was like, ah. And so, you know what Griffith said? I like cancerous fear. And the gentleman said, well, not gentleman. He said, see, we need to listen to Griffith. Good job. And I was like, that was my idea. And Griffith, he looks at me, he's like, I'm sorry. Because some older generation men just can't hear you when you're talking. Maybe they just see tits and ass. They just can't. Sometimes they can't see. But I'm happy that there's a shift, and there's an awakening, and there's a respect. There's more respect for women. So now our voices are being heard and respected more so than in the past, and that's what I'm choosing to focus on, because we can all day long talk about how bad it was and how bad it still can be, but those people aren't my people. So I'm just going to focus on the men that lift up women, and the women that come together, and then we can balance that out, because I know it does exist, and it's not a weakness, it's a strength.
And Dancing Yogi SLC says, yes, woman strong. Women are strong.
Hey, that's my
Powerful.
girl in Utah. I love it. Yeah, she was at this. We went to this event after party for Tony Robbins. Had some amazing, miraculous, magical serendipitous moments. And then they asked me to sing, and she's like, you need to sing one of the songs from your musical. And it was like a heavy song. It's actually called Drugs. And it's like the musical has, it talks about addiction and codependency and prison systems and religion and blind love. There's all these things. So I performed it, and it turned out really, really good. So Dancing Yogi gave me that, advice to talk about my musical and to step into my power and not be afraid to to show up and to, not demand, but just step into my power and presence and say, I am here. Because I think sometimes we get used to playing small, especially, where I come from is like, I'm not super competitive. So I'm like, oh no, go ahead. Oh no, go ahead. Well, I've been saying go ahead for decades. And now I'm like, you know what? My message is really strong and important, and it is time for me to share the message. And every single time I share that message, it does have an impact, and it does change people's lives. And people come up to me and are like, I'm going through, I mean, it was crazy. I like chose this guy in the audience, and the drugs, to tell you a little bit about it, the drug characters in this musical, they come to life. And so the drugs are dancing. We are drugs. Stick with us. This is counterfeit love. You know the drill. We will kill and throw you underneath the bus. So they rap and they dance, and they're trying to like get you to use them. And I start singing the meth man, and I go over to this guy. There were tons of people there, and I just chose him for no reason. He was there. And I come up to him and I said, I am meth man. Tear your skin out, leave you in the trash can. Holes in your face, then I'll shorten up your lifespan. Give you tooth decay and damage to your brain. Come on my way and I'll make you go insane, insane. Well, guess what? He's a meth addict. I had no idea. And everyone after that knew him was looking around going, was this a setup? Did you guys set this up to help us? I have chills. Did you set this up to help his recovery? And he came to me like dumbfounded and just hugged me and was like, how did you know? And that is the female intuition. That is divine source. That is connection. At this party, I started singing a song about drugs. I could have sung some Alicia Keys, oh no, I know, I know. But no, I'm rapping about drugs because that's what Spirit told me to do. And when we tap into the feminine energy, and men can do this too, men can tap into that divine source. I just think that sometimes the women have this like sixth sense that we can a little bit easier. And so that was a moment that I did that, and it had an impact. And I stepped into my power instead of shying away from it. I took the platform instead of saying, oh, no, let someone. I stood in my power. I stood in my female power and embraced it. And it had such an impact. And I think we need to do more of that, because then we inspire others to do the same. Yeah. It's not being better than someone else. It's standing in your light and then allowing others to be inspired to do the same.
And Dancing Yogi says she has chills just thinking about it, and never shy away from your power. There's nothing wrong with tapping into your power, tapping into your own. Exactly. Because you know your worth at the end of the day. And when you know your worth and you know who you are, you can't go wrong. Your gut intuition, your instinct can't lead you wrong. And my mother always told me, because I have 4 brothers and I have 2 sisters, she always told all of us to follow our gut instinct and intuition. It can't lead you wrong. Exactly. So when you know something or you feel something, it's like Mother Nature tells you, like, hey, something's off, or something is just going to happen. You get that feeling of deja vu, and it comes to you instantly. Yeah. And simultaneously, to the point where you're just like, wow, I had an epiphany about something. Could this actually be happening? And it happens to you in real time, as you guessed.
Exactly. It tapped in, tuned in, turned on, like Abraham Hicks says. Get tapped in, tuned in, turned on. And when you do that, the manifestations happen so quickly. And we can get out of our state so easy. We can be in a great mood, and then you go and you miss the train. You're like, damn it. Or something happens and someone says something rude to you that's offensive, and you're just like, and you get mad, and someone says something online, you're like, oh yeah? Well, I think, and next thing you know, you're pissed off and your energy cuts it off. But if we change states that fast, from happy to sad, can we practice going from sad to happy that fast? Because why not change it that fast? Someone pisses you off and you immediately go, oh, that really sucked. Switch. And then get back into that that manifestation empowering good vibe state. And I think that's what we need to practice every day, just like we go to the gym every day. Well, I don't go to the gym every day, but we need to work our bodies every day, brush our teeth every day. There's these habits. And so my New Year's resolution, I guess a little early, is to bombard my mind and overwhelm it with so many positive thoughts that it pushes out the negative thoughts. Because we think 60,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of them are negative. And I want to switch that percentage. Let's switch that ratio and just bombard it with the positive thoughts until the brain starts automatically thinking those positive thoughts. It might feel weird at first because you're like, everything's great. When it's not great, it feels like a lie. But if you keep putting in the positive thoughts, and then to make it more real, have appreciation for, even if something's happening that's bad, find the silver lining, find the good. Hey, I woke up today. Hey, I get to meet a new friend today. I was able to eat a good meal today. Find every little thing, and that appreciation will just grow and grow, and then tap in, tuned in, turned on, manifestation strong. Anyway, sorry, I went off.
Absolutely.
I'm all empowered. Like,
No, you were speaking the truth, and the audience is agreeing firsthand. Kim just says, "Amen," and a lot of people can attest to this because we have these same feelings. Even if for you as a songwriter, something for myself, first thing when I get up in the morning, and you guys know my ritual. For my new viewers out there, I'll share it with you. First thing when I get up in the morning, I do morning affirmations, and I always say a prayer and I have a conversation with God. And I always go through and I recite these affirmations. And one of them is, I will be resilient. One of the affirmations is, I will be
yeah,
resilient and take my power, reclaim my power. And this
yeah,
is what this is all about. It's about staying centered, reclaiming your power, and
yeah,
most importantly, remaining resilient. There are
yeah,
certain things out here that will try, the forces of evil that will try to shake us and get us in a place where we are afraid, where we are, you know, thinking all of these things like, could this be me? You get yourself a second thought. But again, it's that first intuition, that first instinct. And I asked my guest yesterday, Terry, that same question. I said, how do you feel about the present and the future? And his is, well, I think his answer was yesterday when we did our conversation was, I sit back and reflect and I take time for myself. That was one thing he said yesterday when we did our interview. You guys go back and watch it. And it is okay to sit back and reflect in the moment and take time for yourself in that present at a standstill. It was an actress and she said the same thing. What do I do before I go on set? I sit in stillness, and I sit and I master the art of stillness. So that
right.
means you take time right there and you stay centered and in focus and intact with yourself. It's a thing. It's okay to sit there and reflect. Reflect about the past, reflect about the future, because of self accountability. Some things that we cannot change or we have no power or control over, we've learned to just take that with a grain of salt. But the things that we are in control of is our future and how we choose to write our stories
Ooh,
for
I
that future.
like that. How we choose to write our
Mhm.
stories. That's awesome. Yeah, and I with that I wrote my story, literally 300 pages, down to 199 now, but into a script, and I could have easily, with my story and what I went through, I could have easily given up and just pulled back from the music business. I could have got overweight. It could have been woe is me. And believe me, I did for years feel really, I went through a lot of sadness and a lot of depression because I don't know if you know any bit about my story, but you know, it had to do with my ex-husband and his addiction and things like that. And
Oh,
I felt powerless and I wanted to help him and save him. But what I learned, because I went to Al-Anon, he would go to AA and I went to Al-Anon, is that serenity prayer that says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change,
mm,
courage to change the
yes.
things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We got so many people trying to change things they have no control over, and if we accept the things we don't have control over, and then the courage to change the things we can change our state of mind and our energy. We can change our environment as best as we can. And then the wisdom to know the difference. There's three businesses, mine, yours, and God's. And we're always in one of those businesses. And so I really get, when I get into that acceptance stage and then that empowering stage, knowing these are the things I can control, my state of mind. Because I feel like a lot of times I and many people are controlled by our brains. But what I learned this weekend is I am the voice, not this mind, this monkey mind telling me, oh, well, it's too late. Oh, well, you don't have enough resources. Oh, you're not good enough. Or, whatever the bullshit is. Getting rid of that and realizing you are the master of your mind and body. And those thoughts sometimes are just the peanut gallery. And sometimes I'm like, thank you for sharing. Goodbye. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And to be able to think a higher vibrating thought. And yes, dancing yoga says life happens for you, not to you. So even if
I love that.
something happens that you don't like, you go for an audition and you don't get it. Well, maybe you didn't get it because I actually went for the Alicia Keys audition at Hell's Kitchen, and I was
Yeah,
number
that way.
24 in my group, and they stopped at 22. I was like, so I was upset. I was like, they only have 5 more people. What's wrong with them? That's so rude. Like, we were saying 2 minutes each. They could have not even 2 minutes, like 60 seconds. And so I was upset for a minute. And then I said, life happens for you. If I would have auditioned and if I would have made it, maybe my schedule would have been all the time being in the choir of Alicia Keys' musical, when I think God really wants me to finish my musical because it's already saving people's lives, talking about these
Yes,
conversations of addiction and whatnot. So it's having trust and faith in your path, not only in your higher power, but also, like you said, when we make a decision to say, hey, that gut instinct led me here. I was supposed to be here, and not question ourselves. Tune in, and then take one distinction is take inspired action. I take action a lot, and I'm like, do this, but I'm really working on taking that stillness, like you said, and taking that moment. Inspired action. I have a list of 5,027 things to do today. Okay, inspired. What is the next step I should do? And when it's inspired, it can get rid of the rest of those to-dos because it's just more powerful.
absolutely. And Kendra, the audience is agreeing. They're saying absolutely. And not only that as well, but writing things down. Again, as Summer mentioned, she's writing her autobiographical stories about her life. So you take time and you write these things down. I know I have a ton of diaries, and I was telling one of my guests that this week. We all collect diaries or
So
journals
many.
growing up, and we write things down. And it's always good to flip back and see what was I thinking at this point in my life, because I know I do it. I don't know if other people do it, but I flip back through my journals and my diaries, and I'm just like, okay, what was I thinking in this point of my life? Or what was I thinking on this day? Or what could I have done better? Or what could have been different? All of these things. Stop sitting comfortably. Stop, comfortably move through the discomfort that creates the magnificent change. And change can be scary. It
Mm-hmm.
can be scary. It can be scary and it can also be an ugly process, but in the end result, it always turns out beautiful. It's like a butterfly when they go through the cocoon stage. They
Right.
start off in the cocoon stage and then the
It can
butterfly
be
blooms
painful.
out.
Yeah, it can be painful, and the scary. Of course, it can be scary. And then I would also challenge people to shift that word to exciting. So
Yeah.
I teach voice lessons. I'm a vocal therapist, and so I have students asking me, "What about stage fright?" Well,
Oh,
stage fright is because you're thinking of everything your own self. You're thinking your heart is racing, so you're like, okay, my heart's racing. Your hands might be shaking. Your mouth might get dry. You might go, oh my gosh, oh, I forgot to put earrings on today. They're gonna hate me. Oh, what if I have something on my face? What if my voice comes out wrong and I'm tired and it didn't hit the note right? Everything I just said is about me. If I switch that and I say, who can be impacted by this message? Whose life can change? Who can be empowered by the message? Then it's about the audience. Who needs this
yeah.
message today? It's not about me. It should have been about me when I was in rehearsal, when I was practicing, when I was preparing. Once you get on the stage, it's no longer about you. It's about the audience, and it's about giving that gift. And my mom actually said she tells her clients, when if there's a fire in the building, you're not like, hey, there's a fire. You're not scared to tell people there's a freaking fire in the building. So when you have a
Right.
message, it's as strong as a fire, then your stage fright goes out of the way. Your discomfort actually even goes out of the way, because you might be uncomfortable running and yelling and all the attention's on you, but that uncomfortability goes away, because now it's that drive to make a change. Whether it's to stop the fire or whether it's to start an amazing fire on Broadway musical, that discomfort of getting in front of thousands of people and being judged, my mission is stronger than my discomfort or the possibility of someone judging me.
And it can save lives, because I know that when you're going on stage in front of a ton of people, you're going
Yeah.
to have your critics out there. You want everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I know the thing is, they say, think of the person in their underwear. And it's just like, I want to focus on getting this job done. So that helps too. But also, what helps as well too is if you practice. It's just like riding a
Yes.
bicycle. It just takes practice. And for me,
Absolutely.
I took public speaking in high school, and that was the end result for me right here hosting this platform.
Wow.
I overcome my shyness. I've overcome my fear of standing up in front of large crowds. And now I'm doing it in a way where
Yes,
people are
girl.
seeing it and they're getting the message.
Yeah.
So it takes time. It's nerve wracking thinking of what will people think of me, what could go wrong, what could happen. Oh, you're getting all of these thoughts. All of these thoughts are racing through your mind. But at the end of the day, it will all work itself out. You just have to trust the
Ah,
process and remember everything. And a lot of actors, a lot of artists, they improvise.
yeah.
So if something goes wrong, your job is to make sure that that audience does not catch on to what
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
Let it go right over their head.
Oh,
So
girl, I have had so many wardrobe malfunctions, like all these things that are going on. I had my heel one time got stuck in the crack of the stage, and I just kept singing, and I pretend, half of me was jumping, and then I looked at the sound guy or the whatever, and I pointed, and he came over and he's pulling my leg and he's pulling the thing, because my foot was wrapped in I couldn't take my shoe off because it was closed in. It had a latch, so I
oh
was trapped
man.
on the stage. But I just kept going, and I put the attention over here, and this guy's tugging on my leg. I've had so many crazy things happen with whether it's wardrobe or microphone problems or voice things or staging, and the show goes on, and I work for the story, I work for the song, I work for the whole
Yeah.
show. It's not just about me. Sometimes I might even allow myself to look like a fool so that the whole story keeps going. I even work with other artists. We did a show, and she was like, forgot a word or something and came back, and then I did it, and then I forgot something and then she did it, and we just kept. If I had ego, I'd be like, no, don't anyone. It's my show. It's about me. But it doesn't matter. Let's lift each other up. Let's help each other out so that
Right.
the whole story goes on and makes an impact. But
And that's what artistry is about. Artistry is about that, because even some of the greats have had their
yeah,
mistakes. I remember one incident seeing Beyonce on tour, and her hair got cut. We know she's notorious for having her hair in the wind,
yeah,
having that fan. And what she does, she was performing, she was bending out, she was doing Halo, and her hair got caught in the fan.
yeah, yeah. I
So
saw
the
that
show
one.
must go on. And the bodyguard had to come get her hair out the fan.
Yeah,
Olivia Rodrigo, not too long ago, just had an incident where she was singing, and as Summer just said, for women performers, we're literally having to walk on stage in heels. So she was walking on stage, she was walking back and forth, she had her microphone, and she wasn't looking down, and there's this big hole, and she fell right in it. But she held on to that microphone and she kept singing.
yeah,
It's
yes.
out there, Olivia Rodrigo. So, I mean, some of
I
the greats have had incidents.
absolutely, they and the resilient people get back up. So I fell on stage, like actually, like on my face, fell 4 times in
Oh,
a row, 4 times, because what happened? is I did a kick, and when I did the kick, my heel wrapped around the lace around the bottom of my dress, the trim. So it was wrapped around. So when I went to put my foot down, it pulled the dress down. And then when I stood back up, it did it again. So I'm like, I like to be in America. Okay, by me in America. Everything's free in America. And the dancers are like, stand up. Like, why do you keep falling? Not just one time, but four. And every time I fell, I came back up like, bing, bing, bing. Then I finally ripped that lace off my dress. Oh my gosh, that was so crazy. But that is what happens in life is we fall down, we fall down, we fall down, we fall down, but get
Yes.
back up every time you fall and you win. Get back up every time. And I don't know if you know this, if you YouTube, my Dancing Yoga says dead. She's laughing. If you look at my YouTube, Summer Rona, and you search cliff, falling off a cliff or something, that's my most popular
Okay.
music video. It's about my trauma. I fell off a 30-foot cliff and I broke both my legs, my back, and my arm. And I was in a
Ooh.
wheelchair and I had to learn to walk again at 19 years old. And you know what I did? I got back up. And 3 months later, I was water skiing. And then the next following season, I went on tour with a singing, dancing troupe. And I had to learn how to walk and dance again, and it wasn't the same because I had screws in my ankle, but I rehabilitated and I continued to take care of myself, and I got into hot yoga, and that saved my life. I could easily be crippled right now. Absolutely. I could have crazy arthritis, be hunchback. But I just got back up. That resilient spirit that we have, that will keep you going. And so I think that's really important to continue to do for ourselves and to continue to inspire others to do.
Absolutely. And that's what a performer, a consummate perfectionist, does. Even Prince, it was one performance, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it somewhere where it was Prince, Michael Jackson, and James Brown all on the same
Epic.
stage. And Prince, I don't know what he did, how he got up there, but it's on YouTube. Go out there and search it somewhere, y'all. He literally got to the top of this light pole, and you know how Prince was electric as he danced. The same way James Brown would dance. He was
Yeah, yeah,
electric
yeah.
on
Oh,
stage. So he got to the top of the light pole, and the light pole tipped it over in the audience area. So I don't know how he did it, but he got back up and he kept dancing, kept performing because Prince was notorious for getting up on top of the piano, standing. I mean, he do all
yeah,
sorts
yeah.
of stuff.
I'm guilty of that
But
too.
he was a consummate perfectionist behind the scenes, and we've seen that. Michael Jackson is another one. Not a day doesn't go by where I go back and I don't watch his clips and I see what was he like in the studio. And
Yeah.
watching them in the studio, they like everything to be perfect, even behind the scenes in their music videos. They
Oh,
are right there directing, telling the directors, the choreographers, this is what I want, this is my vision.
for sure. And actually, my friend Don, he was the bass player for Michael on tour with him for years. And he told me that one time they were working out this part, and I guess someone in the band kind of said, okay, like, I think it's good enough, like, we can move on. And Michael stopped everything and said, every moment is an event.
Mm,
Every note is an event. Every note. Don't just skip over these guys to get to the big, climax. Every note is an event. And I actually had the chance to work with Michael Jackson's brother, Jermaine Jackson. I
mm,
sang with him at Planet Hollywood, I'll Be There, one of my favorite songs. Um, and when I was rehearsing to go meet him, I was working with his son, Jermaine Jr., and he was working on like every little moment. I don't know if you know the song. It's not a popular one, but it's Tom Snetter is a cold man. Every note. Tom Snetter is a cold man, man. And he had me going through that for every little note. I mean, we would spend hours on every note. Is a cold man. You know, you and I must make a pact. We must bring salvation back. Oh, that wasn't right. Back, back, where there is love, I'll be there. They take their time and embrace and make love to every note. And that's why when we hear it, we're just moved and inspired and transformed and touched because they cherished the notes, the practice, the craft. They cherished every second, and then when they give us this gift, it moves us instead of just throwing it out. So yeah, I really appreciate the Jackson family. They're professional and they are just top notch. So I was really grateful to sing with Jermaine and Tito. God rest his soul. He just left us,
Yeah.
and you know they're up there probably dancing right now and singing. Yeah,
And
beautiful family.
speaking of the Jacksons, I have pictures of this woman on my wall, Diana Ross. Now you've opened at the Hollywood Bowl for Diana Ross. What was that experience like? We were talking about powerful women all throughout this
Yeah,
interview, and I forgot to mention Diana. We mentioned Janet, we mentioned Beyonce, we mentioned Madonna, but we can't forget
Diana
Miss Diana.
is a force and a queen and amazing. And I'm going to tell you a fun story. So I sang with her son, Evan Ross, and we were opening for his mom at the Hollywood Bowl. You know, it was like one of his first performances, and it just happened to be for a 20,000 sold out show. And Evan is an amazing soul, and he's a great singer and just a beautiful spirit. And we were in rehearsal, and we'd been in there a few days, and we'd gone through the ringer with auditions. Man, oh my gosh! Like I came in and I sang, and I got it, but then like other people came and they're like, then they fired someone else, and then they fired someone else, and they brought someone else, and then they took me off stage and put someone else in, and I thought, am I getting fired? Like it was like American Idol up in there. We never knew who was going to get cut. So I made it to the finals. I actually did the show. And when I was in rehearsal, all of a sudden we hear some whispers like, oh, she's here, she's here, she's here. And I'm like, who? Who's here? And all of a sudden we look and Miss Diana comes in and her hair and her presence and her just
Oh,
energy. And she walks in, ooh, and she's a force to be reckoned with. She is not she is so just beautiful. She's a goddess. She doesn't hide her power. You know, she's like, here I am. I'm amazing and you're amazing. You know, she just shares that. So she came in, she's behind the soundboard, she's listening to us. She's like, good job, girls. You're doing great. You're doing great. We took a break and we sit down and she's on the couch and I'm like standing next to her on the couch and she's eating Roscoe's fried chicken. And she's like, do you want some chicken? And you know, my go-to politeness is no, 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 thanks, I'm okay. But inside my head, I said, no, thanks, I'm okay. And inside, I said, when Diana Ross offers you the chicken, you eat the chicken.
you take the chicken.
So I said, okay, never mind, I'm gonna eat the chicken. And so she gives me the fried chicken, and we're eating Roscoe's. And then when we were backstage getting ready to go on, she came back to the group of us because there were four of us girls singing harmonies with Evan. And she came up to us and she goes, you know, this reminds me of the days when I was with the Supremes and we used to just crowd
Oh,
together. I'm like, we're at the Hollywood Bowl. Diana Ross is giving us her history and advice about the Supremes. What is happening? And she goes, and we used to pray and we'd get in a group and pray. And we're like, okay. And so then we all held hands and we said a prayer together with Diana and with the girls. And then we went to her dressing room. And I'm like, I'm not freaking out because I'm staying focused as a professional. And the moment it hit me was when I was backstage prepping the makeup, and all of a sudden I hear, I'm coming up, I want the world to know. On stage, Diana was on stage. No, wait, this was after I had got off stage. Yeah, because we opened for her. And then she was on. So I was backstage after we had done our thing. I got that twisted. Diana did not open for me. So I hear I'm coming up, and then I hear, baby love, my baby love. And that's when it hit me. The iconic Miss Ross that was in the Supremes is on stage where I just was. And I'm so grateful for that moment because it filled my soul so much with just joy and love and, you know, music bringing people together and 20,000 sold out concert. That was a very good
wow.
night. And girl, I had stilettos that were like 6 or 7 inches tall. Like it It was crazy. And I walked out on the stage like, please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't fall.
It's
And
got to
then we
be
did our
perfect, just
arms.
like her.
What's that?
I said Diana likes things to be perfect. So if she
Everything.
says wear the shoes, we wear the shoes.
Well, and we worked on the arms with, Fatima. She's the choreographer. Fatima,
Yes,
she's the famous
yes,
choreographer. We worked on these arms where the shoulder comes in and the elbow leads, and you go like this, and did the whole Supremes kind of arms for 10 days straight, like 10 hours a day. My shoulders were so sore. I was like, normally you just be like, it's just step touch. That's easy. No, get this. It has to be exactly here. We're all together, all together. It was fine tuned, top level, creme de la creme of work. I learned work ethic, and I learned, just the power of music and the power of the history of music and where it's we've come from. So thank you to Diana Ross and to Evan Ross and Hollywood Bowl and all the people involved. It was a magical night. Yeah.
and Dancing Yogi says a student of life and always willing and vulnerable to know where to continue, improve, and grow.
Mhm.
You mentioned the powerhouse Celine. I danced for her 3 years. For 3 years. What an absolute inspiration. She's a master of her art. But yet would still ask
Us.
us how could ask us how we could improve as a dancer.
Yeah.
Yes, Celine, Diana, Madonna, and Beyonce. These Aretha Franklin as well too, and Patti LaBelle. These women are consummate perfectionists, and they go out of their way. We see them behind the scenes working hard on set to make sure the choreography, as Summer just mentioned, is important. Especially when you're working with someone like Janet, when you're working with someone like Beyonce, choreography is a must, and they like
Right.
everything to be tip top shape.
Exactly.
I haven't seen any Beyonce or Janet music video where the choreography, the dancers are not in sync.
Yep.
They don't all have, similar looks. Everything is perfect
Yeah.
when we see the finished product, but we get to see behind the scenes as well too of what it's like to be on set and how the process of the videos being made and
Yeah.
how recording the single to the music video. So we see the whole behind the scenes. It's a lot of work, and
It's
these
work,
women
work,
devote
work,
their
work, work,
lives
work.
to it.
It is. It's definite. And like what you said, you've practiced so much that now, you practiced back in the day, and now for public speaking and whatnot, and it pays off. They talk about the 10,000 hours. To be a professional, you have to put in at least 10,000 or 20 or 30. I mean, I can't even count how many thousands of hours I've put in, and so you get to that point of being a consummate professional where you're like, you know what? I am a professional and I, am good at this. And now my message can flow through me because I'm not worried about the choreography because I know it in my body. I'm not worried about if my voice can hit the notes because I took voice from Michael Jackson's voice teacher. I spent
Uh,
hundreds of dollars per hour taking from him and his daughter and his proteges. And that's the method that I teach. And I am constantly working on my craft. You can't go to the gym once a month or once a year and expect to have a perfect body. Same thing with the voice or with the dancing or with public speaking. You have to be consistent and dedicated to continually growing and improving. And like what Dancing Yogi said is the humility of Celine Dion. She's always like, we're working for the show. She wasn't ashamed to come to the dancers and say, okay, dancers, how can I make this better? Because she just wanted to keep
uh,
improving so that she could make the audience, could impact the audience more. A person with ego would be like, no, I've got it. It's okay to ask questions and to continue to grow. I'm always wanting to learn and grow and get better and better and better. And that's when you're a professional, learning is a lifelong process.
yes. And when you see her walk out on stage, if it's not Celine, then it's Diana. And their stage presence
Yeah,
is ever best. It's like regal. They walk in, like you said, like goddesses, and they command that stage. They own that stage, and they give you a show because
yeah,
those
exactly.
concerts last for an hour. You got to go all the way that full hour until the very end to make sure that you give your audience what they paid for.
Yeah.
That 20,000 square, 20,000 arena full of people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, it's such an amazing experience performing, because when the audience is really engaged and when you're really prepared, there is this exchange. It's like this figure eight of energy. And that's what's so cool. That makes all the preparation and the hard work and the dedication and the sacrifice worth it. Is when you have that exchange, like I had with that man during the drug song, where I was fully into it, and I was into my intuition that guided me to him, and then he was impacted because he was open and he was listening and witnessing. He wasn't closing his arms and trying and judging. He was like, "What is she saying?" And then it impacted him in a way that literally is not only changing his life, but everyone around saw that moment and is like, oh my gosh, like, God is real. That was magic. The power of music, the power of being tuned in and tapped in, and the power of sharing your gift always brings more gifts. I'm gonna say that again. Sharing your gift brings more gifts. If you know, wrap it nicely, make sure it's ready to go. But when I share it, every single time I share it, there's always a gift that comes back to me. And it's not just, oh, I got paid for the gig, because I've done gigs for free. Like I did the one, How I Met Jermaine Jackson Jr. I did it for a fundraising, a film fundraiser. And so I did that free gig, and then what came back to me? I meet the Jackson family. I get to perform with Jermaine at Planet Hollywood. I got to stay with Michael's mom 2 months ago over the summer when I was visiting LA for a week. I got to stay with Catherine and sit and have dinner with her and play, what is that? Rubik's Cube. No, Rubik's Cube? Rubik's Cube. We played Rubik's Cube every night, and we ate and we talked about Michael and the family growing up. What a gift that is, to spend time with this wonderful woman. And that came from sharing my gift. How cool is that? I got to remember that. Because that's
Because
why
you
I
give
do it.
the world with music and it's coming back to you full circle, all the way.
Yeah, and so that is why I'm here in New York City. And you know, I could have stayed in sunny California or in Mexico on this little island and stay away from it all. But I came back to the busy city because I know I have a mission, and I know I have a message that needs to be shared with the world, not just hide small. No, it needs to be shared worldwide. It is going to change people's lives. It is going to heal people. It's going to entertain people, and it will inspire them to step into their power and to not ever give up, and to be able to rise to the top of their craft. Oh, Dawn, what's up? Blessings. So I think it's important to, again, improve your gift and then share it. And even if it's not perfect, because a lot of times I'm like, no, I'm not going to share it till it's perfect. And then I miss out on some blessings. And the people miss out on blessings, I'm going to share it now and keep fine tuning. It's like jump and find your wings on the way down, you know? So I'm jumping in and I'm doing this musical, and it's called Happy Valley. And for your viewers only, because it's a private link, on Instagram, I'm just having VIP people right now. You can follow Happy Valley Musical. So it's at Happy Valley Musical. If you follow today, I will let you in, because I'm only letting people in that I actually personally know. So just for your viewers right now, you can follow that, and then when we go live, you can already see some of the workshops that we've done and some of the scenes, and it's so exciting. This is really, really happening, and people are changing their lives already. Literally, I had one of the piano players, he came in and he's like, is this like rehab? Like, he goes, this is the coolest 12-step program I've been to. And he goes, today is my day one. And he was a crack addict, you know? And so he goes, today's day one. I've had, and then another girl was like, I asked her to sing the part of alcohol, and she goes, did you know I was an alcoholic? I said, no. So people are already like, you know, improving their lives and not being shackled to addiction because we're talking about it. and doing it in a fun way, not in a shaming way, not in a cheesy, preachy way. Don't do drugs. No, it's not about that. It's about finding your higher purpose and getting healthy. Oh, oh my gosh, dancing yoga sober 10 months. Congratulations. See, I didn't even
Congrats.
know that. Let's see how God works.
And music, I told one of my guests this not too long ago as well too. I've sat with so many musical artists here on this platform, and you're one of the few. Um, Music has a way of healing people, and it's all in the lyrics. Musicians are the doctors,
Mm,
and you could put on a song, and that song can be the remedy and the cure to save someone's life. And we see these stories of
oof,
people waking up out of comas saying, hey, your song woke me up out of this coma,
oof.
your song saved my life.
Oh,
And for me, it's certain albums, certain songs that I listen to that put me in a better mood. It's about depression. You know, they get you out of this funk. They help you. They
yeah,
get you out of that deep, dark space. That's what music is supposed to be for me.
absolutely. And
And
that's,
for me,
no,
go ahead,
no,
I'm sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying the album for me that did it was Sade's Diamond Life
Oh,
album.
wow.
I could put that one on, or her Love Deluxe album.
Hmm.
Sade just has a, like you, Summer, she has an aura about her when she gets on stage and she performs and she sings. And it's just like it's calming, like not a care in the
Right.
world. Like everything is gonna be okay. And so does Celine, where it's like you get choked up listening to her music,
Hmm.
but she sings from a place that's real. And
Yeah.
another female artist that does that as well too is Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Family Affair. She's a
Uh,
real singer, and it's you just feel it. And I agree that music is medicine. And
yes,
so the world, especially since 2020, and there's people are staying home. There's so many people that are on depression medicines and trying to get off of it. I know I got on for a little bit, and then I tried to get off, and then I spiraled, and it was not pretty. And music has saved my life completely. I don't know where I would be without it. And so music is medicine. And we were talking about our states and changing our state earlier. I mean, we can go from happy to sad so quickly. Well, what's the
yeah.
fastest way to go from sad to happy? Put on a song. The second I put on Anderson .Paak, Come Down, oh, Anderson .Paak, ooh, 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 ooh. I pulled over. I had a convertible in LA. When I heard that song, I pulled over, jumped out of my car, roof down, doors open, and just started dancing by myself. And then there was a crowd of people that came around. We all started dancing. Do you think that music changed my state? Yeah. And another one is Michael Jackson. Always he'll change my state. And Coldplay. Chris Martin has this voice
Oh,
that's just so pure. It's just so real
absolutely.
and healing and soothing and just and kind. And I got to meet Chris. I used to work at his studio in Malibu, and he's like a Jesus. I mean, I'm telling you, he's like, I used to set down his blanket that for his prayer blankets and little meditation, and I used to put a candle and a flower and my phone number. No, just kidding. But he's such a beautiful soul, and he would kneel down and pray before he even went into the studio, and he infuses love and light into his songs.
Mhm.
And when I went to his concert, everyone is just light, and we had the wristbands that were all lighting up, and it just was an experience where you're just like, we need to bottle this up and keep getting that out there, and we will change the world. We won't get bogged down by all the media and all the craziness. It's like all the culture wars. No, I had a song called No More War that I released, and it's not just about wars overseas. There's a line that
Yeah,
says, war is in our words, in our phones, in our streets, in our homes. We start with the war inside ourselves, the war inside our brain that's telling us, like, oh, you don't deserve it, or all this bull crap that's in the head. We start with that war, and then we start bringing it to our family and to our friends and to our community, and that will change the war overseas. Like, I really, really, truly believe that. And like you said, it starts with the music being the medicine. Turn on those albums. And hey, I have some songs out there that's medicine. I have a song called Lovin' You that's actually going to be in the musical, and it's on Spotify and all the platforms and Apple Music. Loving You is so fun. It will cheer you up and wake you up, and you will be bopping and dancing. Another one that's my friend's favorite is $100,000. That's a really fun, happy song. If I had $100,000 in my pocket, would that be good enough? It's about, and then it goes into it's about the love, and it's just so listen to $100,000. Listen to Loving You. Those are my like really, and then also Perfect World back in the day. That was a really poppy song, and that's been on a couple commercials and also video game and a TV series, Beverly Hills Nannies. So yeah, listen to good music and then change your state immediately.
Absolutely. And oh yes, Chrissy. Oh, we can't forget Nippy. We can't forget Whitney Houston.
Never. She is the one of the reasons Michael and Whitney were my two first
Ah,
loves of music. I used to take the speaker and put it up to my face. So when she sang, I would feel like I was eating her voice. It sounds weird, but I literally was like, I wanna run to you. And I was so little, like I had really little voice at that time. And I was like, how? My soul was bigger than my voice. And
oh,
I knew I had it in me, but I didn't know how to get there until I met Michael Jackson's voice teacher. And he brought that out of me. And so now I can sing those songs with power. But she's flawless. She's the best of best voice. Oh my gosh. Ah,
she had the voice of an angel.
butter.
And
It's buttery
first,
angel.
first time I saw her, it was at an award show. It was at one award show, and it was back in the 80s, where the hair and the makeup and everything. And she was ripped in, tall, like a supermodel, and she had this big curly hair. Makeup was just gorgeous, and she came out with this big voice. There was technical difficulties on the stage because the stage, you know how you perform on, it's like a rotating stage. It
Right.
rotates, turns.
Be
All of that
careful.
behind the technology going on. I don't know how she did it, but her voice filled that entire room.
Yeah, no, her voice is magic. Yeah, absolutely. She's one of my inspirations.
Whitney, there will never be another Whitney Houston.
Oh,
Some of your voice reminds me so much of hers. And there's so many other
mine
female artists who,
does?
yes,
Oh,
yours
wow.
and Jennifer Hudson.
Wow, thank you so much. That's a compliment. I wish
That's
you
the
could have
closest
come.
thing.
Was that?
I said y'all's voices are the closest thing to Whitney.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. I got a chance to do an evening for her birthday a couple years ago. It was a dedication to Whitney, and I did all her songs, 3 hours of her songs. It was so much fun. I should post more video of that. But that was such a fun gig because it was just, oh, this is not even work. This is just I sang all her songs, and then I did Through the Fire, and then Olivia Newton-John had just passed, so I did Hopelessly
Um,
Devoted. Yeah, I mean, so all the beauties we can learn from the ones that came before us. We can learn from each other, and it's not competition; it's collaboration. It's creating together and uplifting. There's plenty of room for all of us. You know.
yes, and Nancy Yogi says, yes, please drop it, release it.
Well, I only have a few more percent, so I might have to run because my battery's about to die.
Oh no, well, okay. So
I still
before we
have 3%. I'm trying to see if I can find a chord. Mm-mm-mm. But I don't
but
know where.
I was
Ooh,
I don't want it to cut off on us. So before we wrap, because I don't want her phone to cut off. Summer, what are some gems that you would give to people real quick on finding their voice? Because we covered a number of things. We talked about women and finding our power, reclaiming our power. We touched on some of the biggest women in the music industry. We talked about how the music industry has shifted toward us and how 2024 is the year of the woman. So, what are some gems that you would give to girls out here that are watching both of us right
Finding your voice, yeah. So I think we talked about stillness. So I think that's the first place to go, is to get still and to pray however you want to pray or vibrate or meditate or just get into a place of peace and knowing who you truly are, not who the world says you are, not what a filter makes you look like, not what you are on the outside, but who you truly are on the inside, and really like close your eyes and find that heart and soul and that love that already exists inside of you. I think so many times we're looking for love outside of ourselves, not only in romantic love, but also approval in whatever industry we're in, community, etc. The love inside ourselves already exists. And when we tap into that love and then we feel that love, and I'm talking not just for a moment, I'm talking be there. Like get there for an hour. If you need to do an hour every single day, and you might not feel anything for a while, but when you finally get there to feel that love, just feel it, embrace it like you're holding a little baby, and really just learn to love yourself and then honor your life, because we all were born for a reason. And when we tap into ourselves and find that love that already exists, and then realize that we do matter and that we are worthy of outside love, but it starts here, then we can tap into our purpose. And our purpose, I was blessed to always know my purpose. I just always, but I know I have some friends that are like, I don't know what my purpose is. Get quiet, find your purpose and find that love within. And then once you do that, take inspired action. Now you're walking. Every single step you take is with purpose. I do this every day. It's how I met my friend Dancing Yogi. I stood there, I looked to my friend, I said, I need to walk down there. I'm gonna leave you here to charge your phone. I need to walk there. She goes, why? And I go, I don't know. And I stopped and listened and said, walk this way. And I walked. And then I run into my new friend that we're gonna be friends forever. And so take a moment though, because we get so busy. Oh, I gotta do this and I gotta do the laundry and I gotta da 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 and I gotta we get so busy. Take that
now? Catch up.
moment every day, not just when you're home and meditating or doing yoga, that's good. But in the middle of a crowd, stop. Is this the way that I should be going? Is this in my highest purpose? What is in my highest divine purpose? What is going to be the best for the world? Which, because every step you take can have huge impact and huge,
Yeah.
action and response, So get quiet, find your love and actually center and purpose, then act with inspired purpose, and then change your state. If you ever get knocked off, always get back up and use music to do that. And about finding your voice, funny you ask, because I'm actually a voice teacher. So if they want to find their actual singing voice, I do believe that everyone with vocal cords can sing. If you can speak, you can sing. And we can work those vocal cords. And I'll be having another intro group class soon, so they can DM me if they have any questions or want to know more. And every time I teach a voice lesson, I don't mean to do it, but all my students cry, because the voice is your expression box, and it's the third, it's the chakra, the blue light. We open that up, and you're going to have breakthroughs you didn't even know that you needed. And you will be able to find your voice and your power and be able to speak with more confidence and strength and purpose. And even if you don't want to be a famous singer, just being able to speak with clarity and with strength and power, people will listen to you more. So I think that's, a way to find your voice, and a practice speaking, practice singing. Even if you're not in the field, practice speaking your truth. When someone asks you how you're feeling, and just good, no, practice speaking your truth all the time. In relationships, practice speaking your truth and asking for what you want and what you deserve in a kind, beautiful way, and watch what happens. And so that's what I'm working on, is being able to Know that I am 100% worthy of all my dreams and all the love in the universe, and speak my truth and ask for what I need and want, and use my voice, because we were all given this a beautiful gift of
Yeah.
voice. Yeah, so
And
that's what I would say.
and to add on to what Summer just said as well too about we talked about finding your voice, standing up for yourself, being an
Grabbing
independent
my
woman. These are a number
charger.
of
Hold on.
things
Keep
that
talking.
a lot of women uh, can relate to. So the final thought of today, Fashion Dolls, is just as we need to eat and breathe, we also need to rest and thrive.
A hundred
Take that
percent.
time for yourself,
Yes,
recharge. And that's another way that you can find your voice as well too. Again, it goes back to self-reflection, which is what we touched on in today's show. And I
absolutely.
hope that you all have taken this with you. Sit in that moment, sit in stillness. There is nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure that you are loving on you, because loving yourself, as Summer said, and she said this just a few minutes ago in the part of this interview. And one part of this interview, you guys will find that little nugget right there where she talks about loving yourself, self care and self love. Exactly, dancing yogi. And I want you all to take that away. And that would be my advice to any girl that is watching both of us as powerful women up here, where Summer's in the music industry and I'm hosting this platform. So we are both making our name and our brands for ourselves. So my advice to young girls is know your worth, and your star is going to shine so bright. So bright. Never let anybody dim your star.
Absolutely.
Never let anybody
Absolutely.
put a dark cloud in it.
Because the power
And
is
I want y'all
within.
to absolutely. So
Aw,
Summer, this is a great conversation. I had a great time,
me
girl. Where can
too.
everyone check you out?
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your presence and your beautiful spirit and smile, and I just really appreciate this, and this was a pleasant surprise and really fun, and I'm excited to see where we both go on this. We're slingshots taking
Yes.
off.
And and it's up from here. We're gonna
That's
continue
right.
to keep soaring. We're gonna continue to keep going up. So
It's up and it's up and it's up and it's up.
that's right.
Thank you so much. I'm signing off, and please stay in touch. And thank you for everyone who is watching. And go listen to those songs, "Loving You," $100,000, and keep an eye out for Happy Valley musical coming
All right.
2025.
There you have it, Fashion Dolls, and we will see y'all Thursday with Damon D. I love y'all all, and thank y'all so much for tuning in. Take care, everyone. Take care.
Bye.